to the Yoga Learning Hub. In this video, I'm going to be covering about the Antarayas, also called as obstacles in the path of yoga, as per Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Now, very important is you need to be very clear about what are the obstacles in the path of yoga as per Patanjali, and what are the obstacles in the path of yoga in the Hatha Yoga Pratipika. Because in your examination, if you are asked obstacle in the path of yoga, especially they like mention the word Patanjali, then you have to say what is mentioned in this video. If they ask you obstacle in the path of yoga as per Hatha Yoga Pratipika, then you will have to include those points mentioned in the Hatha Yoga Pratipika video. And if they just ask you obstacle in the path of yoga, then either of the video you could select, but you need to mention the name which you are going to refer. Either you are referring to Patanjali Yoga Sutras, or you're just referring to the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, because this you should be very clear in mind before you give your presentation or before you give your viva. The best way is to prepare both of them, and then according to the questions asked, you can always present yourself. Let's start with the concepts of Antarayas, obstacles as per Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Now, what are Antarayas? So, Antarayas are basically the obstacles or the hindrance in the path of yoga. Just like an obstacle doesn't allow you to cross a stage of yoga, so these are also an obstacle, because if you can remove this obstacle from the path of yoga, you can cross the stages of yoga smoothly. So as a yoga instructor or as a personal practitioner, you should be clear about what kind of obstacles you have in the path of yoga. And if you're aware of the obstacle in the path of yoga, then definitely you can do something to at least reduce the effect on your practice, or you may be able to remove those antarayas from your life. So here you can take a lot of practical tips, and you can actually do a self introspection, and then you can decide how you can actually implement this point in your practical life. Let's move ahead. Next is, okay, now antarayas are explained in the Samadhi Pada in the first chapter. The sutra number is 30. Okay, so I'm going to be telling you the sutras, I'm going to be telling you the meaning, and then I'm going to going into the detail, into the individual component. So this is where you start your presentation. Okay, so antarayas are the obstacles in the path of yoga. As per the Patanjali, it is the vyādhi, styāna, saṁśaya, pramāda-ālasya-avirati, bhrāntiDarshana, alabdha-bhūmikatva, anavasthitatvāni, citta-vikṣepāḥ, antarāyāḥ. So this is the sutra that you should know. Now, individual, let me explain you. Vyādhi is also called as a disease. Styana is also called as a dullness. Samsaya is a doubt. Pramāda is a carelessness. Ālasya is laziness. Avirati is attachments. BhrāntiDarshana is a false vision. Alabdha-bhūmikatva is a lack of determination or failure to reach a particular level. Anavasthitatvāni is an inconsistency. Chitta is chitta. Viksepa is lack of clarity. Te is those. Antarayas is like obstacle. So you just understand there are a main two types of citta-vikṣepāḥs, that is your kleshas and antarayas. In this video, we will be referring more towards the antarayas, and definitely we will include kleshas in the next video, or maybe some other video that I'm going to properly like guide you. Okay, let's start with the first one. So first, what is the what the Patanjali has mentioned is a vyādhi, that is your disease. So what Patanjali says, that every disease, the effect is seen on your body, but the root cause is happening in the mind. Because whatever you see at the body level, the root cause is the main reason for this is basically at the psychological like level, and the result of it is seen on the like body level. In this way, he says that disease or sickness, which is very often just considered as a derailment of the body, it's actually having a source in the Chitta. Okay, according to Patanjali, he says that disease is a mental or psychological disturbance, and the effects is in those particular symptoms. So we need to work at the psychological level also in order to get the complete effect of the mind and body. Even this modern medicine have accepted this fact a lot. Even Western doctors have believed that many diseases have the root cause originating from the mind. So according to Patanjali, the source, the root cause of vyādhi is in the chitta. Okay, even this is important for your exam point of view. In other words, he says that we need to really work first on the mental level. Now Patanjali has not actually told to do any kind of practices, but he says that pranava japa can help you to cure the disease, or it can actually prevent the ailments as well. But how far pranava japa can help people to cure and prevent the disease is really a really big question mark. Okay, so in this sutras he has not specially mentioned any kind of treatment. So whether this is going to help us or not, that is a very big question mark. This is being told some of the commentators. So this is all about vyādhi. That vyādhi is the disease. In short, vyādhi is the disease. The origination, the it is actually getting like originated from the mind. Effects is seen on the body. Okay, I think it's a very clear cut understanding of the vyādhi. Then you have let's go for the second one, that is a styana and alasya. We can do this together because these both are related. So styana and alasya is basically unreadiness for doing any kind of active work. Styana is more having a mental component as the main one, and in case of alasya laziness, that is more like a physical component because it's an inability of the body to do any work. So both are a major obstacle in the path of yoga. Styana having a more effect at the mental level, root cause at the mental level, and alasya is more at the body level. So these has to be also being handled. Now the fourth obstacle is samsaya, that is the doubt. Now doubt is always an interfering factor in any activity you do in your life, and it is very important in the case of yoga. So Patanjali says that there should be no doubt regarding the efficacy or the benefits of yoga at the start, because if you have a doubt at the start, you will not give your 100% towards the practice. So he says that even the slightest doubt has to be removed at the start of the yoga practices. Okay, and you should have an unshakable faith in the entire yoga practices. That will give you a sure results. Next is we have is the pramada. Okay, now pramada is basically a carelessness. Some people are have this carelessness in their nature, and they bring these carelessness when they start with the practice of yoga. Now Patanjali says that this is a very major obstacle in the path of yoga, because if you are careless in the path of yoga, it is like a child who is playing with a dynamite. He is bound to get injury at physical level and mental level. He says even before you come to the path of yoga, you should definitely see that you remove this obstacle of carelessness, not only for the important things, but also for unimportant things from your point of view, because this is going to be an obstacle in the path of yoga. and that is going to and you will be paying a serious consequences if you don't, if you're not able to handle this carelessness. Okay, next is we have avirati. Okay, now see, rati is basically a liking, a fondness. Now a and v are the two words, two, you can say, verbs attached to rati. So virati is basically a vairagya, that is the disattachment. But if you type if you have avirati, again that is a reverse of vairagya, that is an attachment. So having an attachment is basically an hindrance in the path of yoga, and avirati is a very stubborn attachment, so that has to be removed in order to have a success in the path of yoga. Okay, so I think you got the meaning of this avirati. Then next we have is the bhrāntiDarshana. Now see, bhrāntiDarshana can be represented in three like different ways. Like yoga is a kind of darshana. Okay, yoga philosophy is also kind of like darshana. So bhrāntiDarshana in this case meaning that is an adaptation of some wrong philosophical point of view, and this can definitely act as a hindrance. For example, it is generally accepted that Patanjali Yoga and the Samkhya Yoga have got a similar kind of like foundation, but there are many people who have a strong liking of the Vedanta school of yoga, and while they are interpreting the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, they have an preference and they have an interpretation keeping in mind the Vedanta school of yoga, because they have got a liking for that school. So in that case, the interpretation of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras is not going to be proper, because it is not based on the, not even on the Sankhya school of yoga, not on it's not even based on the Patanjali school of yoga. It is based on the some like different school of yoga. In that case, it's like a Vedanta school of yoga. So this is also an classic example of this Bhranti Darshana. One more is example is the Bhranti Darshana is vision. As the sadhaka goes on practicing his do his like sadhana, he experiences a strange vision of light, vision of deities. If these meaning, if you take it broadly as a like perpetual experience, then also there is a change in his taste, change in his thoughts, and a lot of things. So that is also an inclusion that he is progressing in the path of yoga. However, there are many people who do the practices of yoga and they just have a false illusion that they are seeing those experiences because they have heard about them. So this is also a false interpretation, because they have heard about something and they are trying to just visualize those things in their mind without actually going through the entire process. So this also, and like not only that, they develop a craving towards those experiences. So that is also an example of Bhranti Darshana, where the visions are false. Okay, third example is, as the sadhaka progresses in the path of yoga, he actually gets a lot of like siddhis, and he wants to show to people that he has that kind of power with them. So intentionally or unintentionally, he wants to draw people towards him, and sometime there is the ego is inflated, and he is able to represent his stage of development in a very like big way, in a very inflated way. So this blowing up of ego is also an important case of Bhranti Darshana. Okay, so these are all the wrong viewpoints, uh, also called about oneself. Also, these are the three examples of Bhranti Darshana. Okay, now last two antarayas are very important, because if a sadhakas can conquer these two, he can definitely achieve success in the path of yoga. Okay, a sadhaka is doing his practices daily basis, he's giving his effort, he's trying his best so that he could go from stage by stage in a step by step manner. However, still he is not able to uh, progress in the path of yoga because of some deep rooted samskaras. So this is called as a alabdha-bhūmikatva. Okay, so if this is lasting, this stage is lasting in his life for a longer time, this may lead to the disappointment in the path of yoga, because he will feel that I have done my best and still I am not able to reach a particular stage of yoga. So this will become an obstacle in the path of yoga. Okay, last is anavasthitatvāni. Okay, here what's happening is a yoga like sadhaka have done a lot of tapas, have done a lot of practices. He has reached to a particular stage, say for example samadhi, but when he tries to attain the same state again, he is not able to do it. He is not able to reach to that state. Now he has experienced that state of samadhi in his life, and there is an ill like ability to maintain that stage for a longer time. So after he is not able to again go to the state which he has already experienced, and he knows the benefit of that particular stage. Say for example, in this case we can take the example of samadhi stage. He has reached to that state, but he has not developed the mastery over this particular stage. So this is a clear indication that he has got those benefit, he has got those results, he has seen the effect of his on his entire mind body, but is not able to maintain that practices for like some time. And also no, here also the reason would be some deep rooted like samskaras which is not allowing him to maintain that state for a longer time, or he is not able to stabilize the particular stage of yoga. Now in this case, the stage of yoga not necessarily it will be a samadhi stage. This is just for example, it could be asana stage also, it could be pranama stage also, it could be any stage of the out of those 8 limbs. This frustration is still greater in case of samadhi, because sadhaka has experienced the highest state, in this case samadhi, and he is even trying his best to go to that state, but he is still not able to do it. But since he is not able to improve or to reach to the state again, that might even give him a deep frustration, and this may even lead to breakdown of having a complete like breakdown in his life. Okay, so he will be completely demotivated because he is not able to reach in spite of his best effort. So these were the obstacles in the path of yoga. So as a yoga instructor, you should know these obstacles well, and you should definitely see what you have in your life, and definitely see how you can like handle them. This is all like practically I'm telling you, it's not mentioned in sutras that you should know it, but as a yoga practitioner, if you know these obstacles, you will be able to definitely identify them and do something for it. Okay, so I hope you have understood the clear difference in the obstacle in the path of yoga in the Patanjali, obstacle in the path of yoga, or antarayas in case of Patanjali, and obstacle in the path of yoga in Hatha Yoga Pratipika. So I want you to please listen to the video again. I'm going to be sharing the PPT and the notes below this lecture. I would request you to please refer those notes, because this is a very important topic, and very you can say a important topic for your vivas examinations. And even in case of vivas, they can sometimes give you a single word and tell you to explain. They will explain you bhrāntiDarshana, explain that. So you should be able to explain and give those examples that we have learned in this video. And sometimes they can just tell you explain about antarayas. So you should be prepared in the best possible way, so that whatever question comes, you are able to answer it as far as this particular topic is concerned. Okay, so I just want you to write your comments below. What are the top 3 takeaways you have learned from this video? And maybe just write something what you feel you have obstacle in your life, Okay, just for me to know that you have listened to the video and you have actually understood it also well. So this is all about all about Antarayas. This is like Anubhav Seth signing off. See you soon. Thank you.